Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Ty Gillette Robertson. For you guys that don't know me, if you already know me, you're already subscribed, thank you for coming back to my channel. This story that I'm going to tell is my testimony. This is like the bulk of my Christian testimony, and the crazy thing is I don't speak about this, and I would always tell God, like, I know, one day I'm going to share this story, one day I'm going to share this. And there's been plenty of moments where he's told me to share it. I've even recorded myself sharing it and I chose not to share the footage. And even, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, with my last videos about hearing God, there was another part I put 2 parts to that up. There was another part that was supposed to be the second, and I didn't put it because in that video I started talking about something and it stemmed from my testimony. And because you guys don't know my testimony and my story before I met God, I deleted it out because I'm like, I don't even want to go there. And I had to be honest with myself because, I would ask God to use me and I would thank him for using me. And it was like, God saying, like, lady, you let me use you in these other areas or with other things in your life. Like, you could talk about other things in your life that you're currently going through, but will you let me use you in this? And I had to be honest with myself of what was holding me back. And truthfully, I'm not ashamed of my past. In my own view of myself, I feel forgiven. I know I'm forgiven. I know God still loves me and forgives me. But what it was I don't want to deal with how other people who don't understand God or say that they have this relationship with God and still have that judgmental part to them for whatever. I mean, we all do in some areas. We catch ourselves being judgmental when we don't understand people's things and we try. But so that's what I'm not about to put myself out there for that. Lord, the only time I'm going to speak about this is like when it's an organized event or something. And that way I know the people that are coming to receive are going to they're coming to receive, so they're more likely going to receive without judgment. But on YouTube, I'm like, I'm not about to tell this on YouTube because it's everybody on YouTube. But then that's another thing, it's everybody on YouTube, which is more reason why I need to share this. I can imagine the number of people that have had the same story or can relate in some way, but no one talks about it. Like, there's certain sins that people don't talk about, really. And so that's what my story is right now that I'm about to share. I started really seeking a relationship with God at I either was like 19 or 20. I was a sophomore in college. My story, my testimony begins at the age of 16. At 16, I didn't know God, obviously, the way that I know him today. So at that time, at 16, it was like, I grew up into a family where, we believe in Jesus Christ. We know God. So I believed in him. I believed in Jesus Christ. But I didn't really know him like that. And it's because I wasn't reading his word. So I prayed every single day at this time. I did pray every single day. Looking back, I can confirm that I did have a relationship with him, but I didn't know what he was saying to me. I knew what I was saying to him, and I felt things, but I didn't know I didn't know. So this is actually my first encounter that I can remember where God was speaking to me, and I did not listen. So at 16, I met this guy who ended up becoming my boyfriend. The relationship ended up being about 3 years long. I was a virgin when I met him, and I would always tell him, like, I don't want to have sex, because I could tell that, he was very quick on that. So I'm like, okay, no, this boy think he's about to and it's like, I'm a virgin. And so I'm like, no. And I started telling him, like, I'm waiting till marriage. And I knew I wasn't really doing that, but it was just my way of letting him know, like, you need to slow down. But I didn't have really no conviction for that. I was just saying it. I wasn't really, it wasn't because of my belief in God or anything. I was just saying it so this boy knows where I'm standing at with that. But eventually, even though I didn't have it rooted on like any foundation, I started to really think, like, I think I should wait. Like, I started actually thinking about it. The thing was, because I didn't have a actual root on why I started saying that, eventually it was a little over a year that I finally did have sex with this guy. And that was that. But immediately afterwards, things started to get weird, like, not in the relationship, but like in my body, and I started tripping out because, you know, the thought of pregnancy and all that stuff became a real thing. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, like, you know, I started tripping out. So I was telling him, like, I think that I might be, because I don't know if I was going crazy, you know. So I was really obsessing over. I was reading like forums and stuff of people that was having certain symptoms, and some people was coming back talking about, turns out I'm pregnant. So I'm like, oh nope, Jesus, that's not gonna be my story. So we decided I was not, and so we were going on about our business. One day I went to his house and he randomly is like, here's a pregnancy test. And so at this point I know I'm not pregnant, so I'm taking the test, and you gotta wait like 2 minutes or whatever for the results, a few minutes, whatever, I forget. And as soon as I was about to turn back for the results, he panicked, and I'm like, what are you panicking for? Like, I'm not pregnant. So with the pregnancy test, like, if it's 1 line, you're not pregnant. If it's 2 lines, you're pregnant. And so I looked and I saw 1 line, and then I looked again and I saw 1 line and a faded line. It was 2 lines, and so I was pregnant. So many emotions ran through me. Like, I was angry at him, I was upset with myself, I was thinking about my mom. It was just like, I was thinking about like my life and what it looks like. And I also want to share like the things that I heard during that time. And this is not a video just for the people who can relate as far as like being pregnant or having sex outside of marriage. This is for everybody, and this is about judgment also, because the things that I heard while I was pregnant, nobody knew I was pregnant. So I kept it a secret for a while before I told. And so I'm going to school, and the friends that I was hanging around at that time, there was a girl at the school that was pregnant, and everyone knew. She, you know, like, she was fully accepting of it. She started showing, she was at school showing, everybody knew. But the friends that I was with, I don't know what it was, but they were like hating on her for no reason, and they would talk about her. And it was because she was pregnant, and I don't know why it affected their lives so much, but they would say mean things and like just random comments where it's like, why is she even a thought on your mind? They used to talk about her, and while we were sitting there, I'm like, y'all are talking about her because she's pregnant? And this is why people need to pay attention to the words that they say, because y'all are talking about her because she's pregnant and because she's young and pregnant. And I'm y'all friend, and I'm sitting here pregnant, and y'all don't even know that y'all are talking about me right in front of me. And it's just like, because the things that they were saying was almost like she was a horrible person because she was pregnant. And I thank God for this experience in my life and this story, because this story really helped me understand people go through stuff and it looks one way on the outside, but you don't know their story. You really don't know their story. Like, no one would have expected that to be my story according to what my outside life looks like. You know, I get good grades, I'm an AP, IB, I'm athlete, you know. I look like I got my head on straight, you know? And so this is this assumption that people who get pregnant early don't got their head on straight. I mean, obviously my mind was also focused on the dude, but anyways, it's just like, no one would have expected this about my life, but it did happen, and that let me know we make these judgments about people, because people could look at a young pregnant girl and think like, oh, that she was fast, or just all these negative things, and it's like, you don't know that. So we make all these assumptions about what the story, like what them being pregnant young says about them. And oh, that's what I want to share too. It's like, while I was pregnant, obviously automatically I'm thinking like, I'm gonna keep the child. So I just started thinking like, okay, what do I need to do? I probably can't go to the university anymore. I can probably go to the community college. Like, I started knocking everything out. Like, I can't do track, so now no track, now no scholarship. It's like, now I need to figure out how to pay for school. But it's like, okay, so then I can't go to the university, I'll go to a community college, and that way I'm not gonna pay for a living. I just started thinking about all this stuff because I'm like, mom has the right to just like this is what I expected, like just write me off, you know. Like I just, you know, like if I didn't get those things, it was like, I get it. I didn't expect certain things that I had planned for myself because of what I did. And while I was trying to figure it out at this point, and this is the thing too, I'm keeping the baby, right? I'm getting calls from his mom during school hours. She's trying to, and I understand she was panicking because he was young too. And so she's telling me things like she was assuming that I was keeping it to keep her son, or like keeping the baby to thinking it's gonna like make me and his relationship stronger. And I'm like, people don't, and I mean, I don't even want to say she doesn't understand because she had kids, so she gets it, but I'm like, it's crazy that she's not getting this. Like, you know, you know, like I have to make this decision. I'm not thinking about that, our relationship. Like, that's the last thing I'm thinking about. I'm thinking about this baby. This is where the shame comes in, and not against myself, but this is where I'm like, I have a hard time when the subject comes up, because when I talk about getting pregnant, people are like, you know, automatically, I'm sure, like, where's the baby? I did get an abortion, and with that also taught me so much, because it's like, it taught me actually what women go through when stuff like this happens. At least for a young teen. I don't know. Everyone's situation is different. Some people are very strong on like, nope, that's like, abortion was not in the question for me when I first found out I was pregnant. When I first found out, I was like, okay, what can I do? I just started to get on it. But as conversations were had and stuff, ended up deciding on the abortion, and it was me, after me considering everything, and this is at that moment what I felt like was the best. Does that make it right? It's not right at all. And I don't justify it at all. I don't think that anybody should do it. In fact, this is what I'm putting this video out for, and not to say like, don't do it, but I'm just hoping with this video I can encourage somebody, because the reason why I chose the route of abortion, obviously at that time, I didn't like have that relationship with God like that. So when I'm thinking about my life and this baby, all I could think was, the baby is doomed, because I can't take care of it. I don't see me being with the dad. I really don't. Like, me being pregnant, when you end up being pregnant with somebody, you start to look at them differently and realize all the reasons why y'all shouldn't be together. So, you know, first you in love and stuff, and then afterwards it's like, so that I'm like, okay, no, obviously I'm seeing that this is not gonna be a thing, so I'm probably gonna be a single mother, which is fine. But I was raised by my mom, who was a single mom, and I just thought about the effects that had on me, and like through my, so I'm like, no, I don't want my child to go through that. Like, so I don't need to tell all the reasons, because you know, the point I want to make is like, don't judge anybody for their decisions. Really just pray for them, and if you do speak to them, come from a place of love and not judgment. Because, you know, one thing people say a lot is like, you know, you can adopt, there's families that want your baby. I want my baby too, and I'm almost offended that you think I don't want it. I'm not giving it up because I don't want it. I'm giving it up because I really feel like I can't take care of it, but it's not to the point that I need to give it to someone else. Because that was the thing, it was like, I come from a family where we're pretty well off, so it's like, my baby gonna grow up and see me live, you know. It's just like, I couldn't fathom those, like, I could not sit with those things. But I do think God does set people on this earth who have the heart to adopt for these reasons. But it's like, just if you do talk to someone who is going through these decisions, just be careful about every word you say, because I know that statement, particularly for me, it's like, don't tell me that I could have gave it up for adoption as if that's not something I thought about. Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that, oh, they, you know, it's a lot of families that would love to have your baby, as if I hate my baby or something. So that statement kind of comes off as a judgmental statement of like you kind of telling the person that they haven't considered the baby, and that's all you consider is the baby. And sadly, with all the justifications of what you think you're doing best for the baby, ends up going towards that route. And for me, that's what it was, because all I was thinking like, nope. I just felt like, nope, I had a hard life enough. I don't know if I want to bring a baby into this same life that I just had to live because of me being a child of some people who did not stay together. And you know, it was just so. Anyways, that's for the people who do not relate to this situation as far as like the pregnancy and stuff. But people that do, if you're pregnant right now, have faith in God, because He can grace you to take care of the baby. I know you stepped out on His will for your life while you were having sex out of wedlock, but God allowed the baby to come. And so in Him allowing it, He's not going to have you bring this baby into this world and just drop you off or drop the baby off. The baby's going to be taken care of. And then this is what was getting me, because I'm like, I know this is my story, I know this is my testimony, but I think about it and I'm like, the enemy's trying to tell me like it's not a testimony, because when you think of someone getting pregnant young, usually the testimony is, you know, the baby is here, woo, and like mom is doing well, baby is doing well. And it's like, that's not my story. And it's like, because of my decision, I don't even have the chance for that to be my story. So this is speaking to those who also have already went through with that procedure. It's like, God forgives you for that too. And it's like, I look at my life and I'm seeing how God still uses me in His love for me despite knowing I did that. Because it's like so many people, God sees sin all the same. So my abortion and lying and stealing, God sees it all the same. A sin is a sin. No matter how great you feel like that sin is, He can still forgive you. He can still use you. You can still move forward with Him. In the world, we have these rankings for sin. You know, if you murder someone, it ain't no grace for you. You can't come back, right? That's the world judging you. That's the world giving you your sentence. God does not sentence us. He saved us. So that is what I did. And it's like some of those things you can't reverse. I can't reverse an abortion. If you kill somebody, you can't reverse the killings. And so in those moments, I think that's where people have the hardest time, because it's like you feel condemned because you can't do it over. And that's a lie, because when you sin, you have the opportunity to repent and to turn away. And I had to ask God, I said, God, I got an abortion, and when you get an abortion, what's done is done. So how do you repent from that when, like, you know, so it's like, okay, if my sin is lying, you can go back and tell the truth, so to speak. But with an abortion, it's like, okay, God, I actually can't undo what is already done. And the truth is, you can undo it, but you're not doomed to that. You're not condemned to that. You can still turn away from abortion. And what it looks like is not, oh, like somehow the baby comes back, but what it looks like is you think about what got you there, and you make strides, you make effort to not get there ever again. And so for me, I'm not having sex until marriage, because I know what having sex, where that got me. And for me to have given up a baby already, I'm not giving up another baby. My intention is to wait till marriage, but like, let's say, if a baby did come somehow, I told myself I'm keeping it. Like, I'm keeping it. So let me backtrack. This is my thought process right after, because I didn't stop having sex right away. We were still active. And my thought process is, Lord, like I was just hoping I didn't get pregnant again, because I'm like, if I get pregnant again, I have to keep it. But then my thought was like, if I did end up getting pregnant, even if I kept it, I would feel horrible, because it's like, for what reason did you give up the first baby then, you know? If you were going to still be having sex knowing you're not ready to have a baby right now, knowing that you're not married yet still, it's just like, that is where I feel like I'm making a choice. So my sacrifice to God and to that baby is like, I'm not having sex because I didn't want to have to give up the first baby. But now, this is how I turn away, is to make sure that I'm not in that position again. And what got me into that position was having sex. And the thing was, it's like because I knew God was speaking to me before I had sex, because before I had sex, I would always, when I started to think, like, I really think I should wait till marriage. Like, I was just saying it at first, but I think I really should wait. I was feeling that in my spirit, and me today, knowing how God speaks to me, he was speaking to me back then, trying to tell me no. And I was thinking at that time, like, lady, you probably should wait, because it'd be your luck that you have sex for the first time and get pregnant. And that is exactly what happened. And it's just like, even the emotions towards God, it's like, God, like, you couldn't, so many people be out here having sex and don't get pregnant. It's like, you couldn't have spared me, you know. And it's like, I look at that, I'm like, in that, God did spare me. He showed me right off the back, right away, the consequences of sex. And it's like, the consequences, I mean, there's so many things. It's not just getting pregnant unexpectedly, it's getting an STD, it's the soul ties and the emotional attachments. You get so caught up with someone because you're having sex with them, and now you're in an abusive relationship because you find yourself unable to break away, and it's because of those soul ties, and you've attached your spirit to this person. There's just so many things that comes out of that, and like that is birthed out of that sin, other than a baby, which the baby, you know, aside from that other consequence, a baby is a blessing. But it's like, for you, now it's a difficulty that God did not intend for you to go through. He didn't intend for you to have this baby like this. He wanted you to have it in marriage. So that was not his will for you, but now it happened, and now things might be a little bit more difficult. You can still get it done. He still graces you to get things done, but now it's, you have to go through school with a baby while someone else can go through school just with themselves, you know. So there's just a little added burden, because now you have to you know, worry about another life. So it does add to the plate. I mean, whether you're married already or not, a baby adds to the plate. But a baby is still a blessing. The baby is still a blessing. So for those who feel like God is punishing them with the pregnancy, it's not a punishment. Like, trust me, it'll all come around soon. And that's why I say, like, with this testimony, the enemy tries to tell me it's not a testimony, because, like, of course, you know, of course you've continued on with your life, because you were able to act like it did not happen, because the product of it is not here. But that's the testimony, because it's like, abortion is against most of our morals, and especially against God's guidelines for us. So it's like, even in that, I had all these plans, and I was thinking, like, they're all out the window because I was having sex, you know? And now I have to have this baby. Now I ended up not having the baby, and that was another sin. Like, you sinned, and then you sinned again. It's like, despite, you know, like, if God's plan for me with the school and track, and I was able to still do those things. Like, what is for you is for you. Like, you just have to turn back to him. So it's like, or I don't know what your story may be, because it might not be anything that has to do with sex or anything, or it may be, but maybe you didn't get pregnant, or the shame that we have in telling our stories. Sometimes we need to speak about these things. A lot of people can look at your life and think like, oh, well, you know, like, he or she has always had it together. Like, you know, it's easier, quote unquote, like, for God to love him. God loves us all. He loves us all the same. But, like, people, they sometimes get caught up in this idea that there is a ranking, and that they do have to do certain things to get his love, or certain things that they've done already counsels them from it. And it's like, that's not true. So when they see someone who they respect their relationship with God, and they understand that they were able to have this relationship with God still, despite of this past that they would have never even known of, had this person not spoken about it, or had this person not opened up about it. So share your stories. Like, there is no shame. Satan wants you to stay shamed so that people don't come to Christ. It's like, with my story, I'm hoping that people can realize how good God is, despite anything that you've already done. It's like, you can still turn away. And so you have to identify what that looks like. And with abortion, you can bring the baby back, but I can make my agreement with God that I I don't want that to happen again. It's like you have to hate the sin. I don't like abortion, so I did do that. But if I continue to do that, I'm telling God, like, I'm sorry that I did it, but just are you really sorry? Because you're still doing it. And so it's like, no, God, like, I really don't want this to happen again. Or I don't even want to be in a position where I would even have to decide between these two. So I'm just not gonna have sex altogether until marriage. That is my conversation with God. That is my heart with God on that situation. That's why when it comes to sex, I am very strong-held on that, because that was my testimony. That was my story. God took me through that very early. This was even before I really was getting to know him. And that's why I say it's important to know his word, because had I been in his word and understood how he spoke to me and known his voice, I would have known this is God saying, lady, do not lay with this guy. Because in some people's situations, they can lay and they will not get pregnant, but God knew what comes out of this stuff. He knows what comes out of your sin. And some people, you do get chances and you keep on thinking, well, nothing happened to me yet. You keep on thinking that stuff can't happen to you. That was the last thing. I would have never thought that I would have gotten pregnant. I would have never thought that for my life. And it happened. It's like people do stuff thinking that stuff can't happen for them. If it's a consequence of something or a result of something, that could happen to you too. You need to stop it. You need to stop and you need to repent and turn away. God's guidelines is not to control us. Our relationship with him is a father and son or daughter relationship. Think about your parents. They won't let you do certain things. It's not just because they want to control you. I mean, some parents do be out here with that control, but it's not just because solely because they just want to control you or don't want you to have fun. And that's the thing too, like, oh, you know, when you Christian, you can't have fun because you can have no sex. No, the fun is not worth it right now for what could come out of this. I will wait till marriage. God is trying to protect me from some things. You're not about to trick me into thinking I need to be doing this with y'all because it's fun and it's cool. Y'all are looking at the pleasure right now for this temporary moment, and then boom, baby, and now your whole life is changed. Or boom, STD, and now your whole life is changed. Or just so many things come out of that. So when it comes to sex, that is my testimony. That is the one thing that I've learned so much from in my walk with God about judging people. You don't know their story. You know, like, whatever it is, suicide, depression, prostitution, whatever it is, you do not know their story. And I'm not saying that what they were doing was right, but what I'm saying is you need to pray for that person, because wherever their mindset is right now is what is allowing them to do this, because Satan gives you justifications. Satan gave me justifications to have sex. Satan gave me justifications to go ahead and abort my baby. He gave me those justifications. So what you need to do is pray for that person that they don't believe the lies of the enemy. You need to pray for that person that they don't sit here and do this thinking that, you know, like it's just one time, it's just this one, or, you know, the lies, so Satan could lure you into his trap. And this is something I spoke with someone before. Satan does not get you with a simple, I didn't simply say yes to abortion. I had justifications. And that's the scary part. That is the scary part about how the enemy will lure you into something. I could tell you my reasons. And at the end of the day, that still does not make it right. But what you can do is understand, I didn't just say yes. In the situation where it's prostitution, they didn't just say yes. Maybe they're thinking like, this is what I gotta do to make it. And the truth is, this is not what they gotta do to make it. The truth is, there's another way. The truth is, the way is the light. The way is with Jesus. And it's like, but they don't know that. So you need to minister to that person or pray for that person. Talk to God on behalf of that person, that he changes their mind and that they hear his voice and not the voice of the enemy. That's really what it is. It's a spiritual thing out here, and Satan is out here trying to get folks. And so you need to pray for that person instead of judging that person, because you judging that person is not going to help them. It is not going to help them, because at the end of the day, what they're going to feel like is people don't understand. People don't understand my position. And the thing is, there are some people out there that can understand it. So this is why I'm telling my story, so that you know, I know what you're going through. If you're pregnant right now unexpectedly, I know what you're going through. If you've already had that abortion, I know what you're going through. But God is so good that he still loves you. You still can make it. The ways that you think you gotta go about raising this child, because that's the thing, you can have an abortion and that's wrong. And then you could also keep it but still choose not to follow God's path. You could keep it and you could still go down this path of having sex without being married. You can keep it with still going down this path and deciding you want to take it upon yourself about how you're going to take care of this child. And that's through whatever, selling drugs, whatever means you feel like I just got to do it. So, and you know it is not the right means that God has called you to. There's another way. There's a way that you could do it where it doesn't have to be done in the dark. And so that's really what I want to get. I encourage you, if you are pregnant right now, I will pray for you, and I need you to pray over yourself and have faith in God, because that's what I didn't have. I didn't have faith. So to me, the baby is doomed. I'm not going to be able to take care of it. And if I try to take care of it, the baby is doomed because of how I birthed this baby. Birthing this baby without being married, knowing I'm not going to be with the father, knowing that I'm young and I don't know anything about parenting, knowing that I'm young and I don't have no money. I had already thought that it was doomed for this baby. But the truth was, it was not. God was going to take care of the babies. But you have to give the situation to God. You have to give it to Him and do it His way. Because you repenting is you deciding, God, I did this was the outcome. The consequences here. I can no longer look to the past. You need to look to the future. The truth is, you still do have a future. You still do have a future. So I'm not going to look at the past. I can't say, dang God, take the baby back. You can't. The baby is here. The baby is here. So now, Lord, I just need you to show me how to do this. I need you to guide me how to do this. I want to be the best parent for my child. I just really want to encourage you, because my story is like, I didn't keep mine. And so I don't want anybody to think like, oh, she turned out good because she didn't have it. Because of what I did, I even more want to encourage you to know that you and the baby are still going to be okay. But it lies within you trusting God. You have to trust God. He is your foundation, not your boyfriend. God is your provider. If God allowed for this baby to come, He has a way to take care of it. Don't believe the lies that Satan tries to tell you. And if you have already went through with the procedure, I know how that could feel. Like, for me personally, I don't have no shame towards myself concerning it, because I already know I'm forgiven. I've already seen the fruits that God has produced in my life despite what I've done. And I'm hoping that maybe you seeing me still being able to pursue the work of God and seek God and have this relationship with that, that you can have this too. He's not writing you off. He still wants you to carry out what He put you on this earth for. So don't believe the lies that Satan tries to tell you. At this point, I think I said all that I want to say. I hope that you were encouraged. I hope that your mind was changed, your mind was renewed. For the people that are pregnant unexpectedly, for the people that know someone who's pregnant and you might have found yourself judging them. And if you did, God has grace for that too. Just at this point, repent from judging them. Turn your perspective towards them. You need to come from a place of love when you speak to them and speak about them. If you don't got nothing nice to say, do not say it at all. If you are a parent and your child has ended up getting pregnant, you need to pray so that God shows you how to interact with your child despite the situation, like how to still have healthy relations with your child. Because I'm sure as a mother, no one wants to hear that their teenage daughter or son is having a baby. So just pray about it. Like, don't judge your child. Don't write them off. Think about how God views them. Try to show them God's love through you. Try to manifest His love. Put His love that He has for you and for them, put it back on them. Remind them who they are. Yeah, you had this baby, but you know what? You made a mistake, you messed up, but we could continue on with this. The baby's gonna be taken care of. Everything is gonna be okay. Have faith in God. I didn't have faith. I didn't think I could take care of it. So I easily fell for the enemy's lies. I easily fell for those things. So my story, I'm hoping that you leave this knowing that literally all you have to do is have faith, trust God, grow in your relationship with Him. Those are the important ingredients. That's what's gonna turn this whole thing around, and it's gonna play out well for you and for the child. Because like I said, you can have that child and you could still be without God, and now the baby is negatively affected because you were having this baby on your own, depending on your own self in your own ways. But instead depend on God, and that way the baby still turns out healthy and grows up healthy, you can raise that baby in the way that it should go with God. That way you know that everything is going to be okay. Have faith. Do it His way. But that's my story, and I just hope that someone was blessed by this. Thank you for watching all the way through. If someone came to mind too, if you know someone who can be blessed by this also, definitely share this. Like, the word of God needs to get out. His love needs to get out. His grace, His mercy, His power, it needs to get out. God is here. He's out there, and He wants that person. He wants them to know these things. So if someone came to mind, share it. I will continue praying for y'all. Pray for me also. But that's that. So go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you are new here. And I'll see you guys on my next video, which will probably be a hair video.